Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Arrow. So let's start talking about this episode. So with this episode, we get to see the Human Target appear in this episode because Oliver has to pretty much fake his own death because Church now knows about his secret identity because Wild Dog was held captive and told Church his identity. So the whole episode is Oliver trying to figure out, what do I do? And then he hires the Human Target, and that's kind of how they end the situation. We actually get some mayor story in this episode too, where Oliver's trying to, help people as a politician, and people try to prevent that. And he sees kind of the dirty side of politics, and we do learn a little bit more about that media woman who is kind of the enemy with Thea, like Thea's enemy. They tried to do that a couple episodes ago, but now it seems like she's learning a lot more about Oliver, and I wonder, does she have a mysterious past herself? So they're definitely building up her character, and they're building up Prometheus as a villain. They've been kind of doing the reverse Flash thing where, at least season 1, where they have this villain appear like the last 2 minutes of the episode, and you don't really know much about him besides he's going to be the villain of the story. And Church dies, which was good, and that's the end of the episode. So what I think overall, I will say I think this was an improvement from last week. I think it was one of the better episodes from the season, which is not saying much, but it was a better episode. I think the reason it was better, Human Target was just a really fun character to have on the episode. I really liked him. It's a shame that he's only in this episode, and even though the twist was a little sloppy, it worked. It worked, the twist. I had fun with it, and they try to write themselves out of a wall in the end. It's like, oh, I had to fake my own death, guys. Don't worry. I had to do it. So the way he kind of explains himself out of it was a little lackluster, but it was a good twist, and I'll forgive the writers for that. Character-wise, I like that Diggle's back. I thought, it's cool that he has this kind of, I guess, honorary thing going on where the recruits see him as like a leader in some ways because he was one of the original team members. I don't know if they think the same way as with Thea, because we haven't seen Thea in costume with them, but it's kind of cool that they look up to him. I thought that was cool. And it was interesting that Diggle and Wild Dog was building a relationship because they have similar things going on. That they were both held captive. Diggle's still dealing with his brother story arc, which I don't think they needed to deal with it this much just for an emotional plot. And I still don't care about Wild Dog. I won't say this episode made me care, but at least they tried doing something with their story that made them have somewhat of a friendship. So it makes his character a little bit more relevant, even if I'm not a fan of his character. At least he's a relevant character, unlike Ragdoll. I keep calling him Ragdoll. Don't think that's his name. Rag something. And then Artemis, who, I don't know why she's on this show. It's not Artemis from Young Justice. And she's just kind of there to be there. At least the Rag Dog, or Rory, we'll call him, because that's his actual name. At least with Rory's character, he had something with Felicity. They had a storyline. Artemis is just there. I don't really know what they're doing with her. Again, very crowded show. In the sake where I don't think it needed to be crowded. These recruits never needed to be added. Still, a huge problem is the recruits. But at least in this episode, they just weren't in it that much, so I was happy with that. Talking about Thea and Quentin, they're a bit sidelined, well, Quentin especially, but Thea and Quentin are a bit sidelined in the episode. They're still being used for the mayor plot. I do like her story with the media lady. I don't think her being only in the mayor story is doing any justice to her character, though. This reminds me very much to the days of season 1 and season 2, where they didn't really know what to do with Thea, and she had some weird offshoot story arcs, and that's kind of the flashback I'm having of that. So I'm hoping they do a little bit more with Thea. And again, I think that's the biggest problem of the season so far, is that it's so focused on Oliver. Now, I know it's his show, but I always felt like Arrow was becoming more of an ensemble show, and just the Green Arrow family was the main plot, and with Oliver being the leader. But here it kind of just goes back to just Oliver, and that's why I didn't love season 1, and I liked the other seasons, because they were growing an ensemble cast. Now, the ensemble cast is still there, they just aren't really utilizing them that well. Felicity is also a character that has a shoehorn story with this weird boyfriend that we know nothing about, and it just kind of feels forced in, because they want to do something with Felicity, but they don't really know what. And I feel like that's with all the supporting characters that, we already love. Just bring them back on the team and let them do stuff. At least for Thea, I would say that. Let her do stuff. Now, of course, I hope it's a story that it makes sense for her to join the team again or put on the suit. But yeah, I hope she becomes Speedy soon, because I'm disappointed with that. But maybe if that media lady has a background, I could see them fighting it off. So maybe that'll be the reason for Speedy to come back, especially after that whole Civvy scene, and I think like episode 2, where she's the one who finds out about Church. So she still definitely has those detective skills and superhero instincts. So let's hope as the season goes on, we'll get to see a little bit more of that. But like I said, it was a better episode. Even Church, I thought, was a better villain in this episode. Again, still happy he's dead, because he was in this season for a while, and I don't really understand his purpose besides being this hollow character, but I guess it did a little bit more for Prometheus. He still feels too mysterious to me, but I'm guessing because they're waiting for the reveal that I think he's Tommy Merlin, and they don't have the actor yet, so that's why they're doing this. That's my guess. But yeah, so better episode. I wasn't bored with this episode. Last episode, I was extremely bored, so I'm hoping next week I won't be bored either. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. This is Comic Inno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.